right? That question, please, Orko. I got your question, Orko. I got your question in the comment box. Two questions. One is whether it is calculated from left to right or right to left, and another is whether string will be in the string pool area in Java. Can you repeat the questions again in by voice? Because I cannot see the list box. Like I am making the whole screen available with the PPT. Yes, Orko. Or otherwise, when Orko is available, then I'll take.
Hello.
Yeah. Can you give the questions once more?
Sir, I asked that in that program where k comma j is in 3 comma 4 within the brackets that was checked.
Okay.
So shouldn't the rightmost value be checked in that condition?
I
Because
believe so.
3 comma
I
4.
believe so. As because the
So
logical from is a C. C also generally check from right, but I have to check. But it should be like this. If I have understood correctly, in not always left to right. Okay, any condition checking in C language it is right to left. I think for the same reason they should not go for alternative things. So I think that's the reason. Yeah, then I'll check it, but I think it's right to left. Yeah, and is another question, please?
and sir, the another question that I had was that are strings stored in string pools like in Java?
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is also a good question. I because Java and Python are developed in the same time, but they did not copy to each other, and they are because Java is static typing and Python is dynamic typing. So and this architecture, I found it might not be the same design character, but it will be ultimately in a it will be some area, and that may be called a string pool, but Python naming is different. But I think the architecture that way is similar. So what are the difference? One is the same as the Python virtual machine and Java virtual machine. That portion is same, but what is the main difference is Java everything is not object. Though Java claim everything is object, no. Java has a primitive data type. So Java have integer, Java have float, but here Python doesn't have any primitive data type. Everything is the object ID. How can you find it? When that is whenever you put any value to it, a is equal to 2, a becomes integer. Then you see print type a, it will give you the integer. Then a sometimes next is string. So it will be object ID. So everything is the object in Python, and in Python everything is compiled at the very late stage, late binding, lazy. So in Java it is because of the static checking. So Java at compile time a lot of computation can be done. So Java runtime is generally always faster than Python runtime. But why you are then going for Python? People might ask. The same reason is that is the strength of Java, that is the weakness of Java, because Java everything checked at the beginning of the compile time. So that is Java cannot be glue language in backend, because whenever you are creating a software, it is not a monolithic software. Like we are developing all your application here runs on your same machine, and it is called a monolithic software. It's work on the same machine. But right now, whatever the software we are seeing, say Facebook, WhatsApp, or Google, or any application runs on many platforms. Even whatever we have developed in our NASA hackathon or our brain tumor, the software running a different platform. It sometimes works in a PC, Android, Mac, and it backend. So you don't know where the software would run and where to which API it calls and how it communicates with others. So there it is a good thing that your runtime checking would be better. So it's slower, but it can really communicate. There it C is terribly failed. Still cannot check. C perfectly static. Java is also that. Java, so Python is very good there because it's dynamic check, and if any error comes, it creates an exception, and the exception can be handled. Okay, so coming back to your question that string pool area, I think it should be similar arrangement like that. I'll get it to it and answer tomorrow. Any other question from any student? Anything? So let's be interactive, not a let's be interactive. Whatever. Debanjana Bashak. Any question? Loud, please take microphone on, or your microphone is not working as usual. Who else are there? Kuheli is there. Question? Orko Prabhu, are you satisfied with the question? Please, Orijit have come to the lab. Orijit Naik, have you come to the lab? Okay, so let's go. So this is the Java, Python type. So these are the things is not there in C. See, in C is only have all are mutable things, but here you have immutable things that come like Java, because string, what Subhashis sir has just told, the string is immutable, but string is not there in C at all. Why string is there? I have told the last class. The string is the most useful thing in computation. If we compute only 1, 2, 3 into 1, 2, 3 into 9, 9 into to the power 5, then your calculator is enough. So why we need a computer? Because we need computer for string searching. Everything, whatever you're doing, your genome editing or your vaccine, we are trying to discover vaccine for your coronavirus. Everything is basically string processing, and it is not number processing. It is number crunching is there, but moreover is the string processing. String processing was the say our first name, last name. A typical example, your degree. If once you get a degree, that would not be changed. So it's basically all strings are immutable. Some strings are mutable, so that we can handle. So your basically computation system, your language should very intelligent enough so that you don't have little to is should mimic the real life. So that is the reason I think C is that way backdated, because I think C should have support, but C++ might have. So that is one very two good points I found it in Python over Java. One is it is dynamic typing. Dynamic typing gives another help that it have a less code. You don't have to declare int A, float B like this. So your number of length of program less, and that doesn't mean anything because your A, B, it depends on what data puts into it. So it's automatically dynamically checked, and that is very useful for whenever you have program communicate with different modules of the program at the internet, at the back end, at the front end. So that is the reason Python has completely take the space of PHP, Perl, or whatever the language. So Python whole alone takes all the care of the language. Other than HTML portion is the front end development, and you can forget of any language for developing a system. And you need only a database system, maybe MySQL or like this. So Python takes care of your front end, back end, middle layer, everything. So that is the beauty. It can work on many system, and moreover it is forever free, because Java, whenever it is taken care by the Oracle, the problem is Oracle is they are getting license fee and all this. So people are now hesitant to work for Java because Java has too many versions. So Oracle is charging money. So anyway, coming back to the topic, the C doesn't have any immutable portion. Java does have string, and mutable is string buffer. Here not such type. Python unnecessarily do not complicate. It has only string type. And another thing is, you might ask, integer in Java there are 32-bit integer, 64-bit integer. It's not like it is very simple integer. And next day I'll ask question, what is the precision? It is no such precision is here. It is as much as can be. This is a sequence type, list, tuple, and range. Range is very beautiful. You just see here, if you say range 6, say it is 0 to 5. So automatically your program is much more readable whenever you see range, and this is list and tuple. When to choose what? List is when you have many items, and tuple and it's changeable. List is changeable, and you can access it by 0, 1 like this. Tuple is also can access it, but it is unchangeable. Mapping type, dictionary, it is very, very useful, and it is not very Java as a whole, so you can find it out quickly. Set types, say here set, and it is changeable, but frozen set is not changeable. So frozen set, tuple are used as a dictionary keys. You can, and that is a very useful. And boolean type bool, and it can be true or false. Okay, true is 1 here, not C0, and these are the byte types, byte array, and memory view. All these things. Just to quickly go through this. Another interesting thing in Python, you can have a multi-line string. In Python, you can give a comment only one line of comment, that is the number sign. But if you have a multi-line, like here, I put a 3 quotes and end with 3 quotes and separated by comma, then these are all individual strings. It would be one string, this is another string, string number 0, string number 1, so like this. So this is another peculiarity of Python. You can check it. I have copied it everything from W3 schools. I found it that is very concise. You can follow any site. This site is good, I found. Yeah, you just, everybody please go to your Gmail, please. Just Gmail and put another. I am waiting. Everybody has Gmail is opened. Yes, please respond, one of you. Hello. Hello students.
Yes, sir.
Open your Gmail. Yes, great. So open your Gmail, and then another window, you just type Google space Colab, COLAB, Colab. When you open your Gmail and print another window, press Google space Colab, then go to Colab. I think most of you know Colab. How many of you don't know Colab? Or how many of you know Colab? You know Colab, say I know Colab, please name. Orko does know, I know. Orko, Devanjana know. Any other who knows Colab? I think most of you know. Orijit also know. So you just try to practice in Colab. Everything is, every library is inbuilt there, and you just press quote plus. Have you opened, everyone, Colab? Please, with your Gmail, and you just go to the another section, another tab. You just search Google space Colab, and automatically will land up, and automatically you window, and you say plus quote. You can put your code and any comments you can plus text, and then run. Everyone, please do this. I am carrying on. Yeah, the Python most values are true. Okay, 0 is not true like C. Like whenever in C generally 0 is taken as a true. So there is some little things. There is one object-oriented programming is coming. It is very popular. That is the reason Java is popular than C, because everything real world we think of like a object is talking with other object. Say I am a teacher object, and my Subhashis sir is another teacher object. My name is Somnath Rai Chaudhary. Subhashis sir, Subhashish Mollik. So we have special characteristics. Say we have much older than you. We have some degree, professional degree for teaching, and we are that one thing, and we are getting paid. That is some of the things. And you are the students. Your age is much less, and you passed your high secondary and come to here. So you are a student class. From student class is student object, like Orko Prabhu, Devanjati, Kuheli. They are the individual object. How you can individual object? You individual name, that is instance name and all. The advantage of object-oriented programming is whenever you communicate between object through the messages, your real life can be programmed very quickly. Prototype building much easier, other than procedural way. But the problem of the procedural way is for every type of function, you have a different type of function for different type of object. But in object-oriented programming, your implementation of function, then you call a function, you call a method, and it will be depends on the object itself or the class itself, and the method would be changed as per the class. So that is called object oriented programming. First you have to make encapsulation of the object, encapsulation, make a class, then base class, then the derived class, then you don't have so much code, then you have to have you can extend those class, and then comes the polymorphism. So what polymorphism is, name is the same but method implementation is different. This is a very good advantage, but not always. I have told you in some other computational classes, maybe procedural is much better, like earthquake monitoring, lots of computations are there. Some other cases like SQL, you need a functional command, like you select a star and you sort it. So that is more command oriented thing is required. So these are the typical programming style, but object oriented programming is on the best way. Python support both. Java support only object oriented programming. So for writing a simple hello world, you have to declare a class, you have to declare a public class, you have to declare a static method, and you have to, within that you have to say hello world, public static void main class, then system.out.println hello world in Java. That is quite tough to remember, but Python is just say print hello world. So that is the beauty. The code is less, is remember. So Python class is class keyword is the same. And another thing is Java constructor. What is constructor? When the object class is instance has to be created, then the first certain things to be done. So the instance should have this facility, like this first name, second, last name, and it has the date of birth like this. So here that constructor can be overloaded. That means in Java we have a different types of constructor with different parameters, but Python is much simpler. Python say only one constructor, the name is double underscore edit on it. It will be the first statement to be executed. So no constructor overloading. That is a difference between the Python and Java. Python is that way more readable, more simpler. So this is another example how the code of Python and Java. This is the Java code, same is the Python. See here public, Python everything is a public. So you don't need. Achha, can anybody respond? Are you getting my screen and voice, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Any question you can raise at any point. This is interactive class. At any point you can raise a question. Or if you feel it boring, so you
Sir,
can,
I
yeah.
have a
Yeah.
sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah, please. What's your name, please? Because I cannot
Sir,
see.
it's Debojyoti.
Devajit, yes, please.
Sir, my question is that can we say that Python does not allow function overloading?
Yeah, that's true. That's true, because these are the create unnecessary complication. But there are several nuances of it. It's a good question. May I answer it in next class? Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. The function overloading is generally Python. It is not there, but I will check it up. Okay. Good question. Any other?
Okay, sir.
Any other question? Good question.
Sir, I had a question.
Yeah, please. What's your name?
Pritam.
Pritam. Yeah, put your
Sir, you
question.
just said about encapsulation. Sir, can you please elaborate a bit?
Yeah. Encapsulation is such thing. Have you seen a yellow taxi at Kolkata? So if you see, there are any car, they should have two wiper. So if you see any old yellow taxi, if you see only one wiper. Why? Because that is the variable outside the cab, and generally taxis do not have, they generally at the night they are on the wayside, so they keep the minimum thing which can be not stolen. So that is, you can say any variable should not be put outside. That is called encapsulation. Are you getting my point? My point is that all the things should be your control, and the variable, if anything should be manipulated, it should be manipulated by a function call, not by changing the variable. There should not be any global variable. So basic concept of the class is, what are the, if you see the similarities of several things, so you make a base class, and then you develop the more like human class. Certain things between you and me are same. We are all human beings. We have date of birth. we have some voter ID card or something, other ID card, we are same. But where we differ, that you are higher secondary qualified and you have entered into this, and we are little more qualified because of our age, and we are get payment. So this the other things we can implement in teacher class and the student class. And anything which you want to change, say student, I want to give you the marks, internal marks for say your Python. Say the only authorization is only from this teacher side, say Shubhashish sir and SRC sir, but we cannot change the marks in an outside global variable. We cannot, because encapsulation says you can always change by a function call method, not by changing a global variable, because once the global variable change, it is very difficult to debug who has changed it. So object oriented programming, the first thing first is encapsulation. Try to everything encapsulate. Okay, any changeable object should not be there and outside light open, so anybody can change it. So there will be no global variable. So for the good object oriented programming, there should be no global variable. Every variable should be inside a class, and any variable to be changed, so that should be changed by a public function, that function to be called by another object method, and then it will ask for password and authenticity, and it will be all logged. Have you got my thing? Have you understood?
Yes, sir. Yes.
What's your name, please, once more?
Pritam.
Pritam. I'll explain. Object oriented programming is basic fundamental thing, because that is the more real like situation, so that you can program, your programming could be less number of code. And if you this kind of interactive oriented thing, if you want to capture interactive, then you have to create a lot of code in procedural programming. But object oriented programming, you create only the template, the classes and all, then you reuse them. Any more questions from others other than Pritam? Any question? Good. So please raise question. Anytime you have anything, you just stop me and ask any question from this matter or any matter, anything on Python or anything other than Python also, C, Java and all this. Okay, so it is difference between Java and Python. See, C doesn't have class concept, so C++ does have. C++ is another very good language. If you have passion, go for it, because it's a much faster than Java and Python. It will be always free, and it's a highly competitive language. If you want to be a competitive programmer, then C++ is really good. Okay, but if you want to make a machine learning program, then only choice is Python. And Java, situation is bleak now. Okay, so Java is still running, but Java's problem is it's with Oracle and all these things. Java is not truly open. Python is open, C is open, C++ is very good language. Okay, so difference between Java and Python. See here, class keyword is there, no public, and int with that is not required, because that only creates, because it depends on this, and this is the constructor. Here the constructor the same name of a Java, that is the restriction, but here it is not. And yes, and there is this is a function call, that you can call this function a public int. There is no such public, it is just a function call by definition. And you see the indentation I always said make 4 characters. That is not a mandatory, but that is the best option. You make an indentation 4, so it is much concise. And this thing, and this is how you create a class square. This thing, don't worry, this you will get all this thing in your PDF file. Yeah. Anyone? Any question? Should I go to the next slide? After you say yes, then I can go. Yes. Next, should I go to next slide? Anyone? Are you getting my voice? Hello?
Sir,
Yeah.
sir,
Yes,
Java has the feature of multiple inheritance.
No, Java doesn't have. Java doesn't have.
Sir, has this feature in Python?
Yes. Multiple inheritance feature is available in Python. Java doesn't have. Agreed?
Okay, sir.
Okay. C++ again have the multiple class inheritance. C++ is also have. Java doesn't have, for a reason make it a simpler, but Python does have. It is actually who is the designer? That is James Gosling, and here is our Van. So they are basically wizard. So it is their design concept, and they generally do not go after career. They, you know, the James Gosling got graduated at the age of 26, so he doesn't go for exam. He always works in the computer lab, and actually his professors got him passed. So he is a wizard now. Google have hired him. Now he left Google. Anyway, he was in Dropbox. So he is a genius. So it is generally they visualize, they dream how the program should work. So this is it. Any good question? What's your name?
Sir, Avamika.
Ahamika. Good. Any other question from anyone, please? Should I go? Next slide. This is I have already. Java is faster, yes. Python is slower, but for machine learning, Python is the best. Java is not best, and C++ is the fastest. Okay. So next slide. Here I have shown probably, yes, this is a Java code and this is a Python code. See, only indentation is colon, just little bit here, and it is there, and it is much simpler. I have covered it last class, covered last class. This I have covered, don't worry. This is interesting. Data, it depend on the task you have to think. List, when to use list, when to like this. You can create list, you can have an index, and this is a tuple. Tuple can be used as a hash key, immutable. So when to use list, when to use tuple, you should be clear like this. The tuple you cannot change, like this command is not there in tuple. You can access it, but you cannot change by assign a new value. Set, collection of unique things, no random access, because set has a no random access. So you cannot access by index like this. So set dictionary is like a hash, and yes, see, this is the key value Steph, and that is his number. This is his key value. So you can get key value automatically number. So there is no duplicate key values in dictionary. It is take it duplicate, but this value can be duplicate, but the key value cannot be duplicate. You can search it like this. You can search it like this. Any question, please? Anyone? Yes, you can stop me at any time. List is many similar items to store. Duplicate can be there, like array, more powerful than array. Tuple is when the generally is less than 10, may not be 10, it might be 100. And you generally do not change, like my last name, first name, like this. Set, many unique items to store, only unique items. Dictionary, when this. String is always use string double quote, don't use single quote, then you confuse. You all know there is a list, you don't have to say list. The list is not a keyword. This third bracket opening and beginning means is a list. Tuple, this is tuple 1, 5 comma means a tuple. Okay, but I think don't use this. It is better to use round bracket begin and open is a tuple. Tuple versus list, I have told you, list slower, tuple is faster. Tuples are immutable, have fewer features. List and tuple, I have covered most of it. Okay, okay. Right now I am open for the question session. Too much because you have to take a little rest and do the quiz. Request sir for little more extra time, maybe 6 o'clock. You should take rest. Any question, I am open. Any question, I am open. Anything you have not? Okay. Another good point is please respond one or two. Deva Orkoprovo, Ahomika, Kuheli. Yeah, the next day, what I planned, I had told some of you, show one of the wizard thing for the Python you can solve. So I will invite you. Don't go. You whatever sir is going on, we are also going on. But you try to have some extra things into the Python, like you use the NumPy, you use the matplotlib in your own. It will not create an impression on us. Will not give very huge marks for it. So don't worry. If some of you can show it, then others can be follow quickly. I know some of you know good programming, but I believe you should be with the smartest people in the world. If you are with the 10 smartest people, then you at least will be as smart as 10th one, I believe. So it is always better. So next day, Orkoprovo, you show your small project, and Devanjana will show his own project, and anyone or I know Odijit also can show small project, so others can be motivated, and that's all. Anything you objection? You all these things will not be possible in a class. I will make my own lecture sessions around the class of the class and try to load it. There are very good lecture materials available all over the world. So why don't depend on us? So why see next day onwards, I want to show my small projects. Everybody show the small project that this portion after Subhashish sir ends, we can show what we can do with simple commands. With a simple OpenCV, you can get your camera microphone command. It can be done with the 2 lines of code in Google Colab. You can get your camera feed to your program. Any question? Have a nice evening then. Okay? Please, anyone to one of two? You don't have to ask question. How many of you say I am here? Hello? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
What's your name?
Pritam.
Pritam. Only Pritam is there, nobody else.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, কে আছো নামগুলো বলো তো দেখি। Tell your name.
Sir.
নাম বলো।
Aman sir.
নাম বলো।
Ayush.
আয়ুষ। আচ্ছা আর কে আছো?
Welcome, sir.
অর্কমিতা আছো। আর কে? অর্কমিতাতে একটা কোশ্চেন করো। অর্কমিতা একটা কোশ্চেন করো। দেবজ্যোতি কোশ্চেন করেছে। গুড। আর কে আছো?
Devanjana.
Aman sir.
দেবাঞ্জনা কোশ্চেন করোনি, একটা কোশ্চেন করো। দেবাঞ্জনা কোশ্চেন করনি। আর কে আছে? বলো।
Sir, I have something to confirm. There are many things ready-made in Python. Like earlier we saw split function. It separates the string according to the delimiter. So I want to ask that what is the backend behind these functions? Is it written in C?
Just good question. Can you please repeat the question once more, Devanjana?
I want to ask what is the backend behind these ready-made functions of Python? Is it written in C language?
No. Yes. See, basically, when there's a Python library, okay, the Python library can be written in C. See, I know, but can be in the Python also. Okay, you cannot say definitely it is written in C, but there is a chance. Okay, so some of the libraries I am telling, like OpenCV. OpenCV is the platform developed by Intel for the image processing and computer vision. All the libraries are written in C, C++. So whenever using any OpenCV function in Python, that is 100% written in C. Okay, but say another interpreter, PyPy, that is the whole thing is written in Python language as interpreted in Python. Whatever I know about YouTube, the YouTube site is totally manipulated by Python, and backend is also Python. So some of the cases in C++, when performance is issues like image processing and computer vision, but which are very interactive in nature, like YouTube and all these things, they are in the Python itself. Have I answered your question?
Yes, sir, I got it.
Okay, but there's some modification. I will also find it out. There may be much more addition. Okay. Then Orkomita
Okay, sir.
question.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, in the there is a function in Python called sort, which
Sort.
if yes, if
Okay.
we manipulate a string through this function, then it will then the words in the string will be, I mean, not a string actually, a set of words. If we manipulate through this sort function,
Okay.
then it will show the words in alphabetical order.
Okay.
But if the I mean the set of words contain a word with a capital letter in front, it
Okay.
is showing. If for example, the sun rises in the east. Okay.
Yeah.
So here a sentence always starts with capital letter. So
Okay.
the first the will be in capital letter and
Okay.
the second the will be in small letter.
Okay.
And if I pass this through the sort function,
Okay.
then the capital letter the is showing in the at the top of the list. Why?
Yeah, because you know the ASCII character, the capital is around 48 shifting is there, smaller, and so values are capital letter are more. If you see the ASCII, they are comparing only the ASCII values, nothing
Okay,
else.
so the back end of the sort function is based on the ASCII value of
Yes,
the
I
characters.
believe so. I yet to check it up, Orkomita. I yet to check it up, but my hunch is the ASCII values of capital are around extra 48 values of the smaller. So that is the might be the reason. I will check it up. That might be the reason because ASCII values are different. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Very good question.